National Park Service logo, Dinosaur National Monument. Sunrise shining through a cloudy sky across a landscape of tilted rocks. Panning shots of a large glass building with a backdrop of desert landscapes and partly cloudy skies. A male ranger standing along a hallway next to a large rock wall.
Surely, the most famous attraction at Dinosaur National Monument is the wall of dinosaur fossils. At over 150 feet in length and standing over 45 feet tall, it contains over 1,500 dinosaur fossils that have been carefully revealed in place. But the Quarry Exhibit Hall is more than just a storehouse of fossils. It is a gateway to the prehistoric past. It is a testament to the hard work of paleontologists and is an inspirational tool for all to behold.
A male ranger standing next to a large, long-necked dinosaur fossil embedded in a rock along a hallway.
There are a few animals that have captured the imagination,
A close-up shot of a large carnivorous dinosaur's teeth.
quite like the dinosaurs have, with some of these ancient reptiles growing to be the largest land animals to ever walk the face of the earth. It's not hard to see why. But how did these magnificent creatures live? How did they die? The wall of bones here in the Quarry Exhibit Hall can shed some light on their story.
Sunlight reflecting off the surface of a flowing river.
The quarry's story begins 150 million years ago during the late Jurassic Period. It is a tale of water. The monument during this time was a very different environment from the landscape that we know today. Instead of a high desert, it is a lush river floodplain that is dominated by conifers, cycads, ferns, and horsetails. It is a time of titans, where dinosaurs roam the landscape.
A panning shot of an illustrated landscape containing large dinosaurs, green ferns, rivers, and prehistoric trees.
The largest species known from the quarry are the sauropods, long-necked herbivores such as Camarasaurus, Diplodocus, Apatosaurus, and Barosaurus, some exceeding 80 feet in length, and species such as Apatosaurus weighing over 30 tons. These giants would use their rod-like teeth to rake in Jurassic vegetation and sustain their massive bulk. And some species, like Camarasaurus, would use their elevated necks to reach higher up into the treetops. Smaller herbivores like Camptosaurus, Dryosaurus, and the armored Stegosaurus would browse on the ferns and horsetails growing below. The herbivores were not the only dinosaurs in this ancient river floodplain. 30-foot-long carnivorous dinosaurs like Allosaurus, smaller Ceratosaurus, and the larger Torvosaurus would patrol the banks of this ancient river as they hunted for their unsuspecting prey or scavenged an easy meal.
Panning shots of a mural wall with small glass exhibits containing fossils of small reptiles and mammals.
The dinosaurs also shared this ecosystem with other types of prehistoric life, some of which may seem quite familiar. River crocodile and alligator ancestors would bask along the banks. Turtles and frogs would move through the water's edge. Even early types of mammals, our ancient ancestors, would carve out a living in the shadow of the dinosaurs.
A male ranger standing alongside a section of a rock wall filled with different types of dinosaur fossils.
The area's ancient life was dependent on the river, but the water would not always be present. During times of drought, the river would dry off, and slowly animals would start to die off, and their bodies would lie in this dry riverbed in different states of decomposition. Over time, they would accumulate, and then when the rains returned, the floodwaters would push their bodies downstream, burying them in sediment. This would happen over and over again, accumulating more bones in the layers of rock we see today. And over the next 150 million years, it would slowly turn into fossil. Over the course of time, as the Rocky Mountains began to rise 70 to 40 million years ago, it would cause all these flat sedimentary layers of rock to tilt upwards. This is the process that led to the wall of bones we see today.
A male ranger standing next to a small stone hut with tilted sandstone rocks in the backdrop.
The wall that we see today was not always perfectly excavated inside an air-conditioned building. It was the result of decades worth of excavation.
A slideshow of historic black and white photos depicting early paleontologists working along rocks and excavating dinosaur fossils.
In 1909, paleontologist Earl Douglas was hired by the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh. He was tasked with finding dinosaur fossils for the museum's collection and displays. On August 17, 1909, after surveying a section of Morrison Formation just north of Jensen, Utah, he would make a monumental discovery. At last, in the top of the ledge, where the softer overlying beds form a divide, a kind of saddle, I saw 8 of the tailbones of an Apatosaurus in exact position. It was a beautiful sight. Earl Douglas. From 1909 to 1924, the excavations that took place at the Carnegie Quarry would slowly remove piles of sediments, uncovering one of the largest dinosaur fossil sites the world had ever seen. 350 tons of fossil would be removed, and more was yet to be uncovered. From the onset, Douglas was an advocate for leaving behind a portion of the wall as an educational tool, and his vision would lay the groundwork for what would come later.
A male ranger standing alongside a section of a rock wall filled with different types of dinosaur fossils.
In 1915, President Wilson passed legislation establishing the 80 acres surrounding the Carnegie Quarry as Dinosaur National Monument, protecting the area and its prehistoric resources. And in 1924, the excavations at the quarry would take a new turn.
Close-up panning shots of large dinosaur femurs embedded in rock and a detailed skull of a long-necked herbivore.
From 1924 up until 1992, work on the wall would not be done to remove fossils, but to excavate them in place. Now, in the modern day, after 68 years of work, roughly 1,500 dinosaur fossils of 100 individuals are now visible in the wall.
A male ranger standing in a parking lot in front of a large glass building.
In 1958, the dinosaur fossils would be encased in a saddle-shaped building that is the Quarry Exhibit Hall, and a visitor center would be built right outside to facilitate the crowds that came to the monument to see the prehistoric life that was being uncovered.
Panning shots of a large glass building showing signs of structural damage.
This first iteration of the exhibit hall and visitor center would not stand the test of time like the dinosaur fossils. In 2006, due to structural issues with the foundation, the buildings would be condemned and over the next 5 years would undergo major renovations. In 2011, a new visitor center was opened further down the road, and the Quarry Exhibit Hall would open its doors once again and welcome the public. Today, visitors can journey up the tilted rock scenery to the quarry from the visitor center, taking them on a journey 150 million years in the making.
A male ranger standing along a hallway next to a large rock wall.
From the end of the Jurassic Period to the modern day, the Wall of Bones shares a variety of unique stories. Drawing visitors from all walks of life, the Quarry Exhibit Hall takes people through a world that was once dominated by titans and the paleontologists who discovered them. Dinosaur National Monument's landscape has a variety to offer. What will you discover on your next visit?
A large glass building lit up at night with the Milky Way rotating in a star-filled sky above. National Park Service logo.